After the craziness of Sunday night where we saw P2, 3 and 4 separated by absolutely nothing at the line, we welcome you now to Monday Night Skippies. It's Club UK and Ireland Monday Night Skippies in support of Shelter. Just like on Sunday night, we are at Road Atlanta, the track that measures just a smidgen over 2.5 miles in length. As for the third calendar year in a row, Racesport TV is proud to bring you this fantastic Club UK and Ireland series. We're going to kick our coverage off. Coverage of qualifying is already underway, but we will kickstart things in just one moment's time. Welcome to Monday night here on Racesport TV. Welcome to Racesport TV Primetime. It is Club UK and Ireland Monday Night Skippies in support of Shelter as we head ourselves to Road Atlanta. It's a track which hosts the Petit Le Mans, one of the premier endurance races in terms of North American motorsports. But this track is great for club racing as well. And you get yourselves some Skip Barber Formula 2000 cars, chuck them around the racetrack in a 25-minute sprint race. And we'll tell you one thing, we're going to see some free-wide racing. We're going to see some casualties, some excitement, and some drama over the course of the next 35 minutes or so. Qualifying is already underway here. We're going to get the times up on the left-hand side of your screen. As is the case every Monday night, it is open qualifying. Drivers have themselves 20 minutes to go as fast as they physically can. The draft is important at this track in terms of getting yourself a good qualifying speed. We saw that on Sunday Night Skippies. We will likely see that once again here today. Just under 3 minutes now remaining in qualifying. That means drivers realistically have themselves 2 more flying laps to go. And you can tell just how important qualifying is here because all but 5 drivers are currently traversing around this racetrack. Wolvenson along with Rachel Whitefield as we welcome you then inside the Racesport TV booth as it's currently Simon Povey for Mark Mercer, Simon Holbert, Fahim Atanides and Tom Ward top 5 in qualifying, but Rachel, 9 drivers separated for the time being by just 1 second on track. We've got ourselves Povey, we've got ourselves Mercer on track as we speak. And here's one interesting thing. Currently Mark Mercer is the driver pulling, not being pulled.
Yeah, good evening. Well, it is great, in fact, to see Simon Povey back here behind the wheel of a Skip Barber race car. So looking forward to seeing great things from one of the fast guys in this series who hasn't run recently. But Mercer is looking to cement that early championship lead here, and a win would be exactly what he's called for. It's going to be a great race here. Tough track, tough competition, and a huge grid. It's looking like, wow, 45 drivers at least, Will.
Yep, it's going to be a packed one here today as we have got ourselves a full grid of cars. attempting to qualify, attempting to get themselves as high up in the timing standings as they possibly can. The gap right now between Povey and Mercer in qualifying is 18/100ths of a second. Simon Holbert ain't that far back from Mark Mercer. It literally is a couple of thousandths of a second as we go on board with that driver of Simon Holbert in to the chicane. He comes. We'll keep an eye out on him. We're under 2 minutes to go. In fact, we'll be at 1 minute to go by the time Holbert heads himself past the start-finish line. You see, he didn't get the run he wanted there out of the chicane as he works himself down the hill. Let's have a look what he's going to do. His last lap was not fast. It was a 136.540, way off pace from where he needs to be in qualifying. But, Rachel, it's now crunch time. These guys, as Ward turns it around, need to be on a good lap, and Tom Ward's qualifying is done.
Yeah, not what he would have wanted for today at all. Tom Ward's going to have to settle for a top 5 as things stand. Not improved though, as Simon Holbert is out on track. Mark Mercer also, Simon Povey as well, leading that trio on the racetrack right now, heading on to their last timed lap. This will be the big one here. Can any of them improve? Can anyone beat Simon Povey? Wow, the front row looking dominant already. It's Povey, it's Mercer. This will be an epic battle, Will.
Yep, here is Mark Mercer then. He will cross the start-finish line, and he's going to get himself another lap to boot. 135.680 lap time by for Mark Mercer, but he crosses the start-finish line in time. Povey is off. He's off pit road, but Mercer will have himself, Rachel, one more lap to try and get the job done.
Yep, certainly. We'll see if it's enough for him, but it's going to be a big lap there. Checkered flag is displayed to the drivers now. He's going to find 0.2 of a second from somewhere. This is going to be the lap of perfection from Mark Mercer. We'll see him running now. Any slight mistake will cost him everything he needs here. Great first sector there through the blind apex turn number 3 and down here through the twisty section up towards the double right-handers now. It's 2 corners on the track, but it feels like 1 in the car as he'll head through now and running down the back straight. We'll see if he can get through here. Traffic ahead of him. That's a Club 100 machine as well, so expect them to move out of the way. Well, we'll see if he can get the rest of this lap right, Will.
Indeed so they head themselves down the back straight away now. And here's an important fact. Simon Povey, his last lap was a 135.138. The fastest in qualifying so far today. We go back on board right now with Mark Mercer. And you'll notice there that there are cars. Oh, he's going to put it off. He's over. It is done. He won't get himself the time he wants. Mark Mercer abandons the lap. Adcock is, though, on track. He may well have a chance. He comes up the hill and he'll dart himself back down. Can Stuart Adcock move himself any higher than P6 in qualifying as he heads himself past the start-finish line? 135.365. No improvement. Second place.
So Adcock. Big jump there from Stuart Adcock, Will. Huge improvement there. He knocks Mark Mercer from the second spot off the front row entirely. Stuart Adcock starts alongside Simon Povey.
So then let's have ourselves a look through your starting grid here, provided by Shelter for Monday Night Skippies on RaceBot TV. And you can see that on the front row of the grid, it will be Simon Povey. Qualifying time, 135.139. Stuart Adcock, a quarter of a second back. But note, he has to 1/1000th of a second the same time as Mercer. Adcock only faster when we go to 10th of 1000th of a second. We'll talk about that in the race. Simon Holbert, P4, outside of row number 2. We're going to cycle that grid back for you can see some big names inside your top 10. We've got a couple of drivers who wish they were in the top 10. Mark Turner, Graham Forrest, perhaps wishing for just a little bit more. Maycock also. Tim Adcock all the way down in P15. You see some very big names though, up and down through your field, as it's a full house of 43 drivers lining up to kick things off in our first Monday Night Skippy broadcast of the year. You can see 39 drivers attempted to qualify, 4 drivers did not. It'll be interesting to see what will happen though over the course of the next, well, let's say 25 minutes here on RaceBot TV. Don't forget, live timing and scoring is available for this race, ladies and gentlemen. All you need to do is head over to racebot.tv/timing. And whilst we've got a moment, don't forget, tomorrow night, it is time for us to go back to the corner of 16th Street and Georgetown, back home again to Indianapolis. It is the 16th Street Racing League Indy 500, our coverage presented by Verizon and Racer Magazine. We'll talk about that one after this event. 30 seconds for the drivers to get themselves down onto the grid. You can see most of the drivers are now ready. They are in position. 15 laps here. Monday Night Skippies on Racebot TV. There is the flag stand. There are the lights. And we are underway in 2016 on Monday Night Skippies. Drivers storming themselves down in towards turn number 1 for the first time. They're trying to get single file, but we're going to have a little bit of two-wide racing as they come down through turn number 1 for the first time. It's that awkward moment when drivers hold their breath and see can they all make it through without some form of calamity down the pack. The answer for the time being, Rachel, is for the most part, yes, they do.
Yeah, just lost a spot there for Fahim Antonides in that pack, as behind him is Tom Ward trying to make up some spots there from his bad qualifying. Everyone at the front of the pack making it through somewhat intact. Further back we've got some dust kicking up, but everyone's through okay. Lots of cars here tonight, so lots of people to be going through that first sector, which is really tricky, Will, on cold tyres, but everyone making it through so far without issue. A couple of guys slow offline, but no one's had an incident, so, well, probably the best start we could have hoped for here at Road Atlanta. Yeah, we had it yesterday, we're having it again here today. Tom Ward did push wide in turn number 5, but he's got good momentum. He's moved himself up a position. He is now in P5. Your top 5 are Povey, Adcock, Mercer, Holbert and Ward as they head themselves down the back straight away for the first time. And this is where we're going to see the fun and games kick off for the first time. Jonathan Maycock side by side with Gary Toole, but Povey versus Adcock. Will they immediately go into race mode? Oh yes, they will. Here comes Adcock down to the inside, and Rachel, we will see this pretty much every single lap. A lead change for the first time, probably out of at least 15 here at Road Atlanta. Yeah, very much so there, as we see Adcock running wide on the exit of the bridge corner there. And we'll see a move by Povey to get back past here if he can. We saw how racy Stuart Adcock was at the start of this one, Will. In turn 1, he ran too wide with Povey. He has no intention of sitting back and being a wallflower in this one. It will be Stuart Adcock will be pushing hard here, who will be scored as leading that first lap, but as we said, Povey back ahead of him. Mercer looking to his outside as we approach turns 2 and 3 here. This is a big crest. You can't quite see it on TV, but a huge crest. Turn 3's apex is blind. Cannot see it coming. You've just got to know the corner is there. It's a really tricky one for these guys, especially when they're racing too wide. And you see everyone singling out here through the S's. This has got to be done. There's just no room for too wide racing, even in these cars.
Yeah, but then they head themselves out of 5. Sector 1 is very different to Sector 2 and Sector 3 at this track, as we did have a couple of drivers come onto pit road by the look of it. We have Brendan O'Brien and Jack Lane on pit road. We have an engine blow up as well, and that is Adrian Bidwell there. He has lost his engine in the number 17 car, and he is out of the event. We'll see if there's any issues due to damage. Too. As Brendan O'Brien also has had himself an issue. We'll come back to that later. O'Brien is already on pit road. Here's Povey. Here's Adcock. Down the back straight away. Take 2. Will Adcock go down to the inside? Oh, yeah. You can see that inside line is just left wide open, Rachel, because we know it's going to happen every single lap. There's no point playing defense. And actually, on Sunday Night Skippies yesterday, the driver 3rd in line had the best line coming into the chicane.
Yep, certainly. Just a quick update, Will. We've also lost Brendan O'Brien, braking issues in turn 1, brake failure. He went into the gravel. We've also lost Jack Lane. That was a downshift issue, just like the other one we saw with Bidwell. So lots of drivers making mistakes themselves here. Very fast track here. You're on the limiter a lot. But yeah, running down the chicane now. We'll see that all night long. Of course, you're going to have guys here running. In fact, yeah, it's probably better for you if you let the guy through who's in second with the draft and 3rd. That way you get the toe effect. You start pulling away, you start leapfrogging, and you pull away from the guys behind. So if everyone passes each other and doesn't defend, the leaders get to be the leaders much further away from the rest of the pack. They can fight it out for the win amongst themselves without having a crowd.
Now, yesterday it was a 24-lap race. Today it's a 15-lap race, and that means there's no pit stop. It's going to be a sprint to the finish. And right now, we've got ourselves an 8-car breakaway. Adcock, Povey, Holbert, Mercer, Ward, Williams, and Fahim Antonides. They are your top 8, top 7. Bill Fraser right behind. As you can actually see there, we zoom in on the number 8 machine of Fahim Antonides as they head themselves through turn number 6 and turn number 7. We're going to go back forward a little bit, and we're going to pay attention now to Povey. Will he stay in line, or will he try and go for the race lead? He will probably go for the race lead, and here's the reason why. If he doesn't, then he's going to open the door for P3, Simon Holbert, to make a move down to the inside himself. But keep an eye on Holbert. You can see that is the toe, 3 wide for the first time here today. Holbert threading the needle. Will he be able to break later? Well, just about. There is a lot of room given there, Rachel. But Holbert, P3 to P1, that is exactly what I was talking about. As, well, we know now that he can be at least 3rd in line. Tom Ward, Mark Mercer made it almost look as though he could be 4th in line and still be there into the chicane.
We know these guys can race 3 wide all day long, Will, so that makes things very interesting as we see back there Povey to the inside in turn 1. A lot of room given, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, and somebody inevitably will. I believe Holbert and Povey are teammates, so there's some give and take there. They're not going to try and wreck each other when they're leading this race, so...
Are you saying that we've never seen teammates hit each other before?
Oh, we absolutely have seen teammates hit each other before, most notably the same paint scheme as Tom Ward, but that's all I'm going to say.
Yes. So we can see now we're actually on board with Tom Ward in the 09 Friction Racing car. He gets a very good run out of turn 5. Now, that is one of your keys to success here today. Make sure you get the momentum out of 5, heading yourself down into 6 and 7. It's a bit like Mosport, heading yourself down into the hairpin. You need good momentum coming in, you need good momentum coming out. Jonathan Weeks right now, side by side with Gary Toole as they head themselves through turn 6 and turn 7 themselves. It's that double apex right-hander that just frustrates drivers so much. As now Holbert will have Povey heading to his outside there. 45 on the left-hand side of your screen, 64 on the right-hand side in that purple car for just a moment. We're going to go 2 wide, and yep, we don't even get excited about it. Let's go 3 wide once again, in towards 4 wide. That's enough to get us excited just for the moment, but we're going to go 4 wide. And then we go about 3 wide, 2 deep, a little bit of contact there. Mark Mercer just getting pushed offline a little bit. And that's the momentum side of this coming in, Rachel. You want to make sure that you're not doing something too aggressive, which forces you to check up in the center of the corner, because otherwise you lose yourself half a second immediately, as we've got 4 cars separated by nothing down in towards turn number 1.
Yeah, we certainly do. It's a huge, huge field there for them as they just getting so close together now. This train at the front, Will, is massive. Look at that, 7 cars back there. We have a car off the racetrack. Yeah,
I believe that was Stuart Adcock, number 52 machine. We'll get ourselves a second look at that, but he's gone from being around P2, P3 to being all the way down now in P number 7. And let's have a look, actually. Yeah, he was on the outside, heading himself down in towards turn 1. In fact, he pretty much had the lead at the start-finish line, but you can see he just had such a wide line in towards turn 1. Little bit of contact made there with Holbert, pushed offline is Stuart Adcock, and well, he's in P number 7. He's not out of it yet, Rachel, but he's now got to work his way back through the field, and it's that momentum factor, once again, that will come into play.
Very much so, and getting back through this field will be a real challenge, but he's got people for him to draft off, so more than possible, Will. Speaking of cars we have lost so far today and people off track, I want to give a little mention to Fraser Williamson, part-time Racesport TV commentator, as well as rather rapid skip barber driver, up from P number 31 on the grid to P22 before contact with Neil Bamber in turn number 1 ends up with his car suffering terminal damage, and Fraser Williamson will not continue. So hard luck there, Fraser. Back up towards the front of the field though, Will. We've got some good action starting now as Adcock has a front row seat for the fight between Antonides and Mercer here for the bottom end of your top 5.
Yeah, but we also just had ourselves a mini moment down at the chicane. We're going to get
going to stop you 3 wide there on the front stretch as it's Adcock making the moves here as he will follow Mercer through, making the move there on Bill Fraser and Frankie Antonides at the same time. Well, that shows.
Yeah, but Rachel, we were just showing you there, Mark Mercer, this is on replay, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Mercer, this is what started a huge concertina effect down the second part of the action, because of the fact that we had ourselves the lunge. And I talked about this already. You cannot be too aggressive down into the chicane. Mark Mercer, as a consequence, has fallen out of the action, and Mark Turner off into the wall in the number 28 machine. He's going to reverse that one, but he's going to be another person in trouble. Let's see if he can get that car out. He can, but he's all the way down into P number 21. Rachel, as the laps progress, will get more and more aggressive, and we've seen already Adcock involved in issues, Mercer involved in issues, and now we're technically down to 4 horses for the time being. Povey, Ward, Holbert and Williams, because we've now got 1.2 seconds separating Williams from Mercer as a result of an incident as they go 3 wide once again into the chicane.
Yeah, we're not going to act surprised by this 3-wide racing for the lead as we see Simon Hulbert there going to the point for the chicane as Williams behind him. But I do think we'll see Adcock there and Mercer catching up as big pinch there by Bill Fraser on Martin Mercer through the chicane. Little excessive on lap number 6, Bill, but there you go.
Did you just call me Bill?
No, I was referring to Bill Fraser, the racing driver.
Just checking there. See left-hand side of your screen, biggest movers and shakers in the race so far. Clark Williams up 4 positions, down 3 for Adcock, down 3 for Mercer. As we've talked about, they've been involved in issues which have upset the momentum already. Jonathan Maycock is up 4 points in this event so far. Gary Toole is involved in a great battle with Adam Atherton right now. You can see they're going side by side into 2. Something normally has to give. We're actually going to go on board right now with the driver of Gary Toole. Eat bananas, apparently. We'll keep an eye out on that one. But as soon as they get themselves out of this corner here, turn number 5, well, actually through 4, now they're into turn number 5, Rachel. This track changes from being a track where you've got to have mechanical grip, you've got to baby the car, make sure you hit the apexes.
Oh, car slow on the outside. We're actually going to stop you there. Hey, it's Clark. No, it's not Clark Williams. I thought it was Clark Williams. It lied to me. It was another green Skip Barber car. Hopefully we'll find out who that is in a second now. I'll be able to tell you that car on the outside was the 25 there. And that was the driver of Paul Denton. So we're getting well out of the way there. He's had an incident. He was down in 25th. He was on the lead lap, so big moment for him.
Yeah. To go back to what we were saying though, Rachel, as soon as you get out of Sector 1, you go from it being a momentum racetrack where basically you've just got to stay in line, hold on, and hope that you don't end up running into someone's rear end, to being a stop-start racetrack, a bit like Road America. So there's 2 racetracks really merged into one here. The final corner, turn 1 through to about turn 5, and then the rest of the racetrack heading themselves down the chicane and up the hill.
Yeah, pretty much, and it does change its personality a lot here at Road Atlanta. Almost want to compare it to Brands Hatch to an extent. You've got a very twisty initial sector, back and forth, elevation changes, and you've got some big long straights towards the end of the lap, so it's probably one of the more British of the American racetracks, I'd say.
Yeah, as we know that there are some tracks which are very momentum dependent. Let's think about, for example, Sonoma Raceway over in California. You can see these drivers. We have got ourselves again a pack. That 4-car breakaway we talked about, it didn't last long. They were too busy fighting out front, and they've allowed the likes of Mercer, Atanides, Fraser, Forrest to catch back up into the picture for the time being. There are currently 7 drivers, 8 drivers even, in your lead pack, and in fact, I can just show you there, look at our aerial coverage. We can get them almost, in fact, as we zoom out, we can get them into one screenshot as we head themselves down the back straight away again. On the left-hand side of your picture is Tom Ward, Friction Racing car. On the outside, moving himself to the race lead, is Simon Povey. We are past halfway, and here come the Skippys, 2 by 2, in towards the chicane once again. From here, it's only going to get more crazy. And what we just saw there by Hulbert, Rachel, is a classic case of being boxed in. Hulbert had the momentum. Povey was on the right-hand side of the racetrack, on the outside line. Hulbert wanted to go. He had the draft, he had the speed, but he couldn't go anywhere because there wasn't a lane open for him to move. This is what we mean. It's almost like Talladega racing once you hit yourself down the backstretch.
Yeah, certainly, and it's Talladega, but with some very, very sharp corners. These guys, they can go 2 and 3 wide, 4 wide, they can fit, but there are only so many ways through a corner that are fast and don't require people on the outside stopping. Could have a Nola Motorsports Park Ryan Hunter-Ray moment there with not giving each other room, but you know, it's a lot of room here for these guys, and they do their best, but you know, sometimes there's always going to be one person that loses out. We see it here sometimes, and well, in this case, we had one. But up at the front, though, this has really gotten interesting all of a sudden. Povey, Ward, Hulbert, Adcock, Mercer, Williams, and Antonides has even gotten back into this one himself. So, looking like we have another 7-way fight for the win.
Yeah, as we're just going to zoom in there from our blimp up above, and you can just see, yeah, that was the Stanford shot, ladies and gentlemen. No one from Monday Night Skippers will know. We're just going to have our ESPN Stanford moment. There we are. That's what happens if you have a band that no one likes, apparently. But there you can see, down the back trailer, they are snaking. It's like they've got a Nokia 3210 and they're just snaking around for the moment. Let's go 1 wide. Let's go 2 wide. Let's think about going 3 wide. This time, Hulbert has line. He will thread the needle as they come into the chicane. It's that critical corner we found whoever normally has the lead into that corner, if they can actually get themselves single file on the exit, as they're just riding on board now, it's going to be interesting, because at the line, this is going to be fascinating, because the outside line is actually the better one towards the stripe, because of that horrible curve on the inside line. But if you can get yourself single file and dictate where you want to be, quite often you'll end up winning this race. But around the outside, Tom Ward's going to have a go as they work themselves through turn 1. There'll be 5 laps to go at the line, and they've really bunched up, and one wrong move here, Rachel, could land these drivers in absolute calamity.
Oh, we've seen this in the big endurance races, Will, but one wrong foot in the S's section here at Atlanta.
Oh,
can resolve in. We did see that indeed. It was Hulbert. A big check up there as Clark Williams gets wobbled. He goes round. Clark Williams losing out there in what was a Talladega-esque concertina effect. It realistically started up there at Hulbert as he went in too deep behind Ward. Had to check up. Everyone else checked up, and bam, round he went. Maybe a replay up on your screens there for that one. Big disappointment for Clark Williams in the number 98 wheel.
The way you saw it, we're on board with Williams as we had the check up there between Ward and Hulbert. Someone has always got to make sure that they can get themselves onto the brake pedal as quickly as they can. But if you're 6th, 7th in line, you know that sometimes it's just going to be a little bit too late. And that's what happened to Clark Williams there. Down the back straight away we come once again. Here we are, lap 10 out of 15. We're going to go 3 wide once again. Mark Mercer has played these last couple of laps cool. He's just psyching out his competition. We'll go 2 wide, 2 deep. We'll go 3 wide, but Mercer has just stayed calmly on that outside line. Him and Adcock are going to be wild cards as we have ourselves Atanides off there in the number 8 machine, and well, realistically, he's fallen about 3 seconds back, and that is going to be his chance of victory, paid for another race, Rachel. So now we are down to 5.
We are indeed. I wondered when Antonides was going to put his foot in it. Turns out it was there. But looking at the front of this one, we've got to keep our eyes on this, Will. Of course, it's very exciting. Oh, contact Hulbert and Ward. That was so close in turn number 1. 2 wide there. Very risky. Povey, Hulbert, Ward, and Adcock. Bill Fraser has dropped back as well as Antonides. So 5-horse battle here for the win. And this is getting very, very close. We've got 4 laps to go after this one, and it's hotting up now. This is like watching a dogfight. These guys are all over each other, and they're not giving each other an inch of room. So very exciting racing up here at the front, but a little bit further back, got some great running going on in the back end of your midfield, though we've just seen that Mark O'Connell has pulled to the side of the racetrack. His day is done. Looking further back, things are spread out. Still quite a lot of cars running. 32 on the lead lap wheel, but got a good pack forming here from 8th through to about 13th position, so not all happening at the front.
Yeah, as we get ourselves, we'll zoom back in, then we'll have ourselves a look if we can. We're going to try. There we are. It looks as though the cameraman didn't want to do anything for a moment. But you can see there, we've got that middle pack as they head themselves down this back straight away. Simon Povey, Tom Ward are going to go side by side for the race lead. But we're going to, for the moment, just stick it with the likes of Tim Adcock, Keith Sharp, Jonathan Weeks, Jonathan Maycock there. As we're going to go on board with Keith Sharp. He's going to try and work the outside line over the driver of Tim Adcock, and you can see the inside line and outside line can work here. Oh, it's actually, we're going to have Adcock turned around almost there. We were on board with Keith Sharp. We only saw one part of it. Our cameraman was predicting something. We're going to get ourselves a second look, but that's one of the risks there. If you work the inside line and someone's on the outside, Rachel, sometimes you just get chopped off.
Yeah, that chicane's a real pinch zone, Will. It's very easy for someone to not even see you when they turn in and just come across the nose of your car. Big problems there if it goes wrong. But things getting dogfight here at the front as we have a slide from Simon Povey. Big slide in the S there. Turn 3 hanging around the outside. Whereas it looks like Mark O'Connell has decided to take up a grandstand seat there to watch the end of the race, sitting on the off track. But big wobble there by Povey, big drift, manages to hold on to that car, and he gets through, but Ward is up into the lead again. Yeah, so we're getting ourselves that replay then. This is on board with Simon Povey in towards turn number 3 as that car, we're just going to show you it there, as the back end's going to kick out as he heads himself, and you can see that he's drifting, he's hoping he just gets himself actually 4 wheels onto that little bit of asphalt, then he just tags the grass on the curb. But I'll say one thing, Rachel, if that little piece of asphalt wasn't there, Povey wouldn't be leading this race, he would be out. Absolutely, Povey would be completely out. He'd have gone round, and oh, look at this there as Hulbert noses his way in there. using a crowbar to get inside of Tom Ward. As this is getting very tricky there. Mercer having a look, but they make it through 3 wide through the chicane. Never seen that one before. So these guys are going for it. I have no idea who's going to win, Will.
Well, there's 5 drivers in this fight. We've seen some crazy last lap finishes last season on Sunday Night Skippies. And don't forget, Sunday Night Skippies is part of Racebot Primetime. It is on every Sunday night. Free wide into turn number 1. This is Povey, Ward, and Mercer. Oh, as we got contact there, we're going to have ourselves Mercer just pushed wide. And it's as if these guys think they've got fenders on their cars. They forget they've got exposed suspension. But Simon Povey in turn number 2. Mark Mercer's fallen back down to P number 5. Potentially a little bit of damage on Mark Mercer.
Ward. Big contact for Ward there with the wheel of Povey. So could have suspension damage for him. You're right, Will. These guys race out there in the British Touring Car Series, not in Skip Barber cars. So they can get a little contact at times. But
oh, driver off, and that's Povey.
Povey gone round. That was going to replay up now. He wide exiting the corner there. Used too much curb, Will, and he went round on the edge of the grass. So, yeah, disappointment.
We saw this yesterday for some drivers. Turn number 5 at Road Atlanta is a little bit like turn number 1 at Watkins Glen International. So here you can see that car's going to drift off. And if you just mount the curb wrong, you just lose all form of momentum. You lose all form of downforce in the car. It's as if that skid block basically just means you can't reverse anywhere. And here's the thing. There's Simon Povey on pit road. He is out of this event. So now we're down to 4. With 2 laps to go out the line, here are your contenders. Simon Holbert leading the race. Tim Adcock in 2nd. Mark Mercer in 3rd. Tom Ward in 4th. And oh yeah, they're separated by 1 second. But Holbert's got the biggest lead of the day, and that is 8 tenths of a second. We've talked Rachel already. We think that Mercer and Ward might be a tiny bit damaged, but Mercer's trying to look down to the inside of Stuart Adcock. They now need to rely on Adcock to bring them back into this fight.
They will have to rely on him, and I think they can certainly find that will happen. Well, it looks like it's over. It's not. It's plenty of time left, and they will catch Holbert in the draft, of course, especially running down to the chicane. But Adcock, Mercer, and Ward will definitely catch up now, and it's going to make this very interesting. Holbert's been hung out there now. This might actually be to his detriment, Will. He's sitting there clean air. When they catch him with the draft, he'll have nothing to defend with. He won't even be in the push from behind if he was part of the draft train. So they should blow past him on this run down to the chicane now, and he'll be in real trouble.
Well, there you can see left-hand side of your screen. There are your top 20 and the gap between themselves and the race leader. It's fascinating to know that through Sector 1, Adcock was only able to gain 2 tenths per second. But this is where it's all going to get fascinating. The white flag will be out next time by. That gap was down from 6 tenths down to 5 tenths.
Here he comes.
Already down into 4 tenths per second. And let's see, he'll break the 3 tenths barrier now. So we've got ourselves a 4-horse race once again. We're down to a 1/4 of a second, down to a 1/10 of a second. Adcock going to try and go for the race lead. That is half a second there, gained on the straightaway. That shows you the power of the draft, Rachel, as we're going to see the white flag, but Holbert remains in front of Adcock, in front of Mercer, in front of Ward, just for the time being. Atenides is almost back in the hunt here.
I thought he'd blow past them, but no, close enough though. A huge gain of time, but it's going to be interesting to see if you can hold them off for another lap now with them all this close. The dogfight's really going to kick off here as we head onto the white flag lap now. This is it, one more time around for the UK Skip Barber Race School Series here at Road Atlanta, Will. Hulbert, Adcock, Mercer and Ward. Ward goes wide, Ward goes across the track, Ward collects Mark Mercer. That is it. Mark Mercer out of this one along with Tom Ward. Big moment. We'll replay that after the race because right now it's a fight for the finish here between Adcock and Hulbert, and it is mano a mano 1v1. This is it now. Hulbert, Adcock, 64 car to 52 machine. We only have a few corners left to go, Will. Can you do it?
So here we are, Hulbert pushing wide there. Oh, Hulbert's off, and that means it's Adcock. But where's the strategic here from Hulbert? Because now he's going to be in draft range as they come down the back straight away. This could have been genius from Simon Hulbert. Push yourself wide, take the race lead away. Hi, what's up? All of a sudden, I now have the draft going down the back straight away. This is genius. Hulbert pulls himself to the outside line, and that is one of the most fascinating moves I have seen in a fantastically long time. But they'll be side by side for the moment as they head themselves down into the chicane. Cut back, Adcock on the outside, Hulbert on the inside. What a crazy lap it's been.
He's wobbled.
It's going to be Hulbert who's going to have the lead coming out the final corner. It is, but Simon Hulbert is going to win Monday Night Skippies. Atenides will come home second. Stuart Adcock will come home in third. But it has been a crazy, fantastic lap here. The last lap of Monday Night Skippies. We're going to take you through 2 critical moments. So, bear with us for just 1 second. This is the first one. This is as they head themselves up the hill, sector number 1. Mark Mercer and Tom Ward. They've been in it all race long. We're going to slow it down for you right about now. You can see that we had Tom Ward. He got pushed there to the side by Mark Mercer. He cuts across the racetrack at that point. No grip at all. Mark Mercer there being taken out. But it was one that we're going to have one more look at. Because it's interesting. You have to look at the start of this incident to see what happens overall. Down and towards turn 1, Mark Mercer gets himself a good run, as does Tom Ward. But the incident really starts here, on the exit of 1 and 2 in towards turn 3. As they come down into the corner, that's a critical point. Because Mark Mercer comes across just a tiny bit. Not that much, racing incident. But Tom Ward just clips him. He gets pushed sideways. He goes onto the grass. Nothing he can do. He's on that dirt. He can't slow the car down. You can see that car gets a little bit airborne for a moment. Then Tom Ward, well, he's the unfortunate casualty. We're down to 2. We then go and have ourselves a look at Hulbert. And this is one of the most fascinating things I've seen in a long time.
Well, I have just looked at this now. I'm going to replay it for you on the screen. This was not a genius move. It may have been a happy accident, but it was not genius. Hulbert is full on sideways going to the first corner there. He is drifting that like a boss. The back end is hanging out. That's one of the best holds I've ever seen of that. He holds onto that amazingly. And what a job. But to come back from that and to win, impressive.
I disagree. Let's listen to the engine notes. Right here.
Look at the wheels, the steering, he's sideways.
No, he was shifting that car. He was deliberately, if you listen carefully to the engine note, we're going to play it one more time. I'll say where to listen from here. Because if you listen very carefully to the engine note, and listen to the way he shifts that car down. Let's take a listen right from here. He's shifting that car down differently to the way he's probably done it on every single lap. Almost as if he wanted to push wide. And we'll try and get a listen to what he was doing on previous laps in a moment's time. But I think that if you listen to the engine note, it's as if he almost just shifted down a little bit later, deliberately, to just push that car wide. You never want to be that sitting duck in a 2-horse race. But the interesting thing afterwards, Rachel, Stuart Adcock, well, he tries, he pushes, he does the cutback. We're on board with him now. And as he comes himself down into the chicane, he just really overcooks the corner. Slides jobs there. And Adcock lost the race quite simply by pushing too hard into that chicane.
To be fair, I think it's actually a lucky comeback for Simon Hulbert, Will. I think, honestly, he buggered it up. He was under pressure from Simon Povey. He made a mistake, and I think he got very lucky that he made up for it and got back with it. I think the straight was the only thing that saved him here. If it hadn't been for this long straightaway, I think he would have been destroyed. He'd shifted down too late because he panicked, and the back end stepped out when the wheels hopped. I think it was a mistake that was just got away with.
Well, let's listen. We're going back a lap, ladies and gentlemen. Let's listen in. Oh, you see, he shifted down about 3 gears into turn 6 that time by. He didn't shift 1 gear.
I think he double-clicked by accident. He grabbed the pedal too many times. It was a mistake under pressure.
We'll never know. We might find out for Simon Hulbert. Let's have a look at your final race results for Monday Night Skippies. Simon Hulbert wins by 9 tenths of a second over Fahim Atenides. Stuart Adcock in third. Adcock there messing up just a little bit on that final run down into the chicane. Overcooks the corner. Atenides will take second. Bill Fraser fourth. Keith Sharp in fifth. Neither of those came into the final lap expecting to get a top 5, but they do. Mark Mercer could hold on after his incident with Ward on the final lap. He comes home 6th. Jonathan Weeks in 7th. Mick Watson in 8th. Jonathan Maycock in 9th, and then Adam Atherton rounds out your top 10. Tim Adcock in 11th, Ben Daniels in 12th, Maltby, Thurston and Bama rounding out your top 15. Then Harpham, West, Gailey, Turner and Goulburn are your top 20. Note, 19 drivers separated by 30 seconds at the conclusion of 15 laps of racing here. Cycle on back, there we are. P number 21 through 30. We're just going to slow this down a little bit for a moment. There we can see Bloomfield, Fox, Robinson, Patterson, Barnes, Wallington, Middleton. They are your 27 finishers. Tom Ward, the first driver to be classified as retired. He's in P number 28. Jack Lane and Paul Denton round out your top 30. There is P number 31 through 40. We had ourselves over 40 drivers start here today. In fact, we had ourselves 41. Russ Lowe and Murray A. Coops did not start here on Monday Night Skippies. We're just going to go on board one more time. Simon Holbert. I have to turn this down for a minute. There we are. And we'll turn that. Something happened. He pushed wide, but it's always a good thing to push wide. And also, he doesn't even have a front wing. That's an interesting one. But he was always good when you've got one of the longest straightaways in sim racing. It's interesting to note that I think that wasn't Atanides. It was the guy in P4, Bill Fraser, who actually also went a little bit wide down at turn number 6 and 7. But Rachel, Monday Night Skippies delivers once again. It's 2016. It might be a different year, but the formula still works. Get some drivers, put them in a car, send them around some racetracks, go 3 wide, go 4 wide, occasionally crash into each other, but for the most part, have some great racing.
You know what, this may be a racing school car for beginners to teach them how to race, but you know what, every week when I watch this, I learn something different from these guys. They might be in slower cars, this might not be Formula 1, this might not be NASCAR, this might not even be touring cars or GT3, but you know what, they make these little things come alive. It doesn't matter whether you're racing a milk float or a Audi LMP car, you know, they do an incredible job of racing. It's always exciting, and it's always here on Racesport TV and iRacing Live.
Indeed. So don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, UK and Ireland Monday Night Skippies is in support of Shelter. That is pretty much all we have time for tonight. But don't forget, tomorrow night we go down to Indianapolis. It is the 16th Street Racing League, Indianapolis 500. It is live on Racesport TV, on iRacing Live, streaming live also on IndyCar.com. Our coverage powered by Verizon and Racer Magazine. But that is all we have time for as we conclude another fantastic 2 nights of racing on Racesport TV Primetime. Streaming live also on iRacing Live. We'll be back in a week's time. First of all, Sunday Night Skippies on Sunday night. And then, of course, UK and Ireland Monday Night Skippies in support of Shelter. 1 week, remove ourselves about 36 minutes from now. I've been Will Vincent, Rachel Whiteford. We say thank you very much, and we'll talk to you all next time. Bye-bye.